Hi, how are you? I thought that I'd talk to you about ruminating and how I have managed to stop ruminating. And with not that kind of guidance that therapists and psychiatrists give their keep channels here in YouTube, but I have a little bit a different approach. Well, for starters, ruminating is that kind of a phenomenon when something happens, you have some kind of discussion or something like that, and then you go over and over and over it in your head afterwards and try to think what you should have said or should have done and what they actually did or done or said. Well, I'm very prone to rumination, or have been, because of my upbringing. So when somebody is not happy, I'm immediately thinking what I should have said or done, or what should I do to make them happy. And somehow it's obviously my fault, even if it actually isn't. Well, these psychiatrists say that you should embrace the thought when it comes and think about put it in a box and close the box and then send it away and send the very thought away. Or put it in a leaf to a stream and let the stream take the leaf and the worry away. Well, that's a nice idea. But if something really bothers me and I ruminate it, it doesn't stay in a box. And it doesn't go away with the leaf and the stream. It comes back over and over and over again. And it's very consuming. It takes a lot of energy and it takes the joy away from your life. But then something happened to me that made me take a different approach to this, like altogether. I had moved to a new neighborhood. My children were small. One was 0 and one was 3. And they were all family apartments. But for some reason, they were mostly like these elderly types that children had already moved out. So they were very annoyed that there were new children in the area. Even though of course, it's totally absurd, as you know. Children are people and they live somewhere too. Well, these people came to complain to me. There were two persons, mainly one, but then there was, of course, the wing woman. And he started to complain like every day. Every time he saw me outside, he should complain that children make too much noise and we take too much space and they smudge things and they are completely annoying and I should keep them inside and silent, and they do not like us moving in those blocks. And it was totally absurd. And he used a very vile language and he did it every day. Every time he could get some kind of angle to it. For example, when my 3-year-old took these crayons that you are supposed to draw to asphalt outside, that goes away when the first rain arrives, he came to complain to me that I have to wash it away immediately after he's done, because it is annoying to have these smiley faces on the asphalt. And of course I was like, okay, that everything bothers you. And there was this playground for children and they said that my children shouldn't play there because they make noise. Like, how much noise can one 3-year-old make? I can only ask. But they were annoyed about everything. And I was so tired because, of course, with 3-year-old and 0, one is up during the day and the other is up during the night. So I didn't sleep much. So I was a nerve wreck already. And then it went too far, like way, way, way too far. That gentleman came to say to me that he wanted us to be inside in the afternoons because he wants to be outside naked. Of course, I told him that that is not okay. And You do not do that in a suburban area. You simply don't. It's not allowed. It's against the law and all the regulations that there is, and it would be sexual harassment to be outside naked when children can see you. And that's just not okay. And I was like shocked. This has been going on for about a year, and I started to, or I noticed that I'm going on and on and on about these discussions, and the fact that the man simply said that you should move out of here. You don't belong here. Well, I bought the apartment, so I got a little bit mad. And I started to think that, okay, this man actually wants me to sell my apartment and move out of the family apartments that they were there, and they were made for families, and he lived in his alone. So he's in the wrong place, not me. I have children, I'm young, he's an old grumpy. I should not have to step down, he should. And I got very angry, and I realized that the more I go on with these things inside my head, the more he gets his way. So in a way, if I worry, if I ruminate, he wins. That's the one thing that he wants. He wants to ruin my day. He wants to ruin my life. He wants me to move out. He wants me to be miserable. So I thought that, okay, this man is a simple bully, and I'm not going to take this. I'm not going to let him win. The old grumpy man with the pervert, like, things that he wants to be naked outside, and he doesn't want us to be in a parking lot, and he doesn't want us to drawing smiley faces on the asphalt. He is wrong, and I am right. And he's not going to ruin my day, and he's not going to ruin my life, nor me, nor my children. And I noticed I'm not ruminating anymore. I'm just mad. Plain mad. I'm tired and I'm mad. And the next time he came to say something to me, I started to shout, for all the madness, all the anger that I have been like piling up for a year came out. And it wasn't nice. But after that, he didn't come across me. I saw him take a turn to another street when I was coming across. He didn't even look at me. He looked like somewhere else. And every time he got close by accident, I looked at him like a furious look. And I won. He didn't come to complain to me anymore. He was not naked on his yard, although he wanted to, but I don't care. And the lady didn't either. She tried to complain with this and that, but after that, it was enough that I looked at her. I looked at her with utmost contempt. So that's my suggestion to think. If you're ruminating, if you find yourself going over and over and over these things again and again, and they're really piling up and they're really wearing you down. Of course, it's not always possible to go and shout your all the things that you have piled up. It's not always possible. But in this case, I took a risk. I didn't think about it then, but I understand it now, that he could have been much more crazier than he appeared to be. But he wasn't. He was in these kind of noticeable positions and something like that in some children's charity organization. So I thought that he has no, he doesn't take the risk ending up in a newspaper harassing a new mother. It wouldn't fit his image. So in these kind of cases, you can stop it once and for all, just saying out loud what's impossible, and that they are impossible, not you. Because there are bullies in this world, and the bullying is endless, I have noticed. If somebody stops, then another one starts. And there is no end. If you just endure and endure, it's not going to end. If you try to do what they want to do, they want you to vanish from this side of earth. So it's not possible. You don't want to vanish, or you shouldn't. And you shouldn't keep inside and not to disturb anybody. That's just not how we are supposed to live our lives. And I have a value as a human being, and my children has a value of a human being. And it's just as much as his value. So he has no right to tell us what we can do and what we can't do. He was just a neighbor, and he wasn't even a next door neighbor, so he didn't actually hear what was going on in my household, even if the children were screaming their lungs out. But the next time you find yourself ruminating over something that has happened, some unpleasant conversation, think about it and turn the tables and think that you are not going to let them win. Never let the bullies win. If you cannot go and shout out to them, then just think about it in your head. That I'm not going to continue this. I'm not going to let them win. I'm going to live my life, and they can be miserable and complain in their own silence. And just like me, you can hope that they die alone and in terrible agony. And then I assume that the guy upstairs decides what is to come of them after they have passed away. But that's my tip for today. If you have some kind of experience or some kind of tips for us ruminating people, please write them to comments below. And I wish you a great day without bullies. I see you soon. Goodbye.